Hello and welcome to Torque News. This month I want to talk to you about the Mercedes 722.6, 722.9 torque converter and the importance of replacing them and rebuilding them correctly. There are three concerns with this torque converter that you need to look at, three sections basically. Number one, the torque converter component, which involves the primary stator and turbine, and the lockup component, which houses the lockup assembly, and of course the most important things is using the proper components. That's the third quotient of this torque converter. So we'll start with the torque converter, the torque converter side of it itself. This is a good transmission. It's a good torque converter as well. Very well designed, very well built. But it has its issues as they wear, because these things tend to have a lot of miles on them. And in Sprinters and in some Mercedes, it's possible to see them with 400,000 kilometers. We ourselves have a Sprinter with 400,000 kilometers on it. So, you know, it's quite a common thing. They're good vehicles and they last a long time. That's why you see them coming back with wear. So, coming back to the torque converter, the neck, the hub assembly, the importance of this, it may not seem like a big deal, but there are two types that you can buy. There's one that's not as hard, and then there's a hardened version. The purpose of having the hard one, and why you need to have the hard one, is because, as you know, in the later versions, these things no longer use brass bushings in the pumps, but needle bearings. And with any needle bearing, you have to have the heat-treated hub, because if you have a softer surface, you're going to have galling, pitting, and it's going to destroy. So you must have it. So we only use the heat-treated bearing, and the reason for that is, like I mentioned, the needle bearing will destroy it if you don't. But if you have a brass version, no problem. You can use it as well. So it's good for both. So that's why we use that. And we do it whenever we replace it, 100% of the time. That's what we use, and it serves us well. Inside, the torque converter is furnace braced from factory, so it's a good, strong unit. Another weak point on this torque converter is the stator assembly. The sprag assembly inside, the one-way clutch, slip sometimes on the higher mileage units. Now, when I say slip, it's not that the sprag assembly is slipping, it's the actual race has stripped away from the casting. So you're turning the sprag assembly and both races at the same time, which gives the same effect as a broken stator anyway, but that's what happens. We have developed a proprietary way to pin these. We have special equipment to pin these things. So when you put them back in, they're as strong, if not stronger, than they are from factory. This is very important to check, because a lot of rebuilders just do the one-way clutch thing. What slips one way, locks the other, and the stator's good. You can't do that. You got to check in the back, because many times 90% of it's stripped away, not totally, and you'll get that little movement that you won't pick up on unless you're looking at it. You're going to let it go, and it's going to last 1,000 K if that, and it's going to strip and cause you all kinds of issues. So that's another weak point of these things. We also do, because we do quite a few of these. We do hundreds of these every month. It's one of our biggest units. The turbine assembly is straightforward, like anything. It's got the dampener assembly in the back, unlike the traditional torque converter, which is a dampener and friction assembly plate in one. Mercedes chose to put the dampener assembly attached right to the rear of the turbine assembly. And this goes into the clutch section, which basically, as you can see here, is like a clutch drum. Not like your traditional torque converter, but a clutch drum. You got your piston, and you got your frictions and steels like you would anything else, which makes it pretty durable. Now, the important part of this lockup section is to make sure, like, as you know, when you rebuild a clutch drum, you got to replace the lip seals, inner and outer. Got to do it. We do it every time. But on this particular unit, on these Mercedes, there's a small O-ring. I'll give you a close-up right inside there. It's this guy right here. Very hard to get out and change. Not impossible, but not easy. So a lot of guys, for that reason, don't change them, and that's very important. One of the most important out of the three, because this one gets a tremendous amount of wear, and if this is for the turbine shaft, if it leaks, it gives you all kinds of lockup issues, So you must replace that every time. There's also this journal here. This is aluminum, and with high mileage, it will wear, and this ends up being oversized and will bleed fluid past it. So you got to make sure this size is checked. It's critical that you get it right on the money. What we do, we check them, and if we need to, if it's worn, we'll put a bushing in there, and that creates a solution. But very important. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't know that. So make sure whoever you're using knows how to do that. Another important part is, of course, like I mentioned, the components you use. We replace the frictions. The steels are also replaced because we're modifying them with a Sonax kit, which is basically a kit that has 2 steels in it, or 1 depending on the type of unit you have, and 10 of these little springs. I'll give you a close-up of that. Basically, you get the spring that goes in here, 10 of them all the way around, in between the steels, and what that does is it separates them. It separates it keeps the clutches apart. Why is that important? It's important because as the unit wears and the transmission wears, the circuit pressure isn't what it should be, or isn't as it should be, and you end up having these things drag. And when they drag, you start getting shudder on apply, shudder on disengagement, stalling in gear, all kinds of problems. And in Canada, or anywhere where it's cold, you have the fluid becoming thicker in the wintertime, which exacerbates that problem. So these springs keep the clutches apart and get rid of all those issues. It makes the converter just drive a lot better, a lot less issue with it, and it doesn't get in the way of the lockup function. Works perfectly well, and we put them in every one. So that's very important. So aside from that, that's basically what we do to these things. It's very important that all these steps be done, and what you should take away from this is to not only to make sure whoever you're using is doing these things, but to make sure that you don't reuse these torque converters, especially if they're high mileage, because they do have their quirks. They're good units, but they have their quirks. And like I said, we do many of these, so we know how many times these come back worn. So that's basically it for this month. If you have anything you'd like us to talk about on this channel, Video Torque News, by all means send me a feed, peter@converterman.com. I'd be more than happy to cover it for you, whether it be a tech problem or just something you want to know about. A new type of torque converter, what's coming up in the future. We do have a lot of new torque converters we buy from the dealer for upcoming vehicles. I'm going to do a torque news actually soon on the new 410 speed. We bought one of those torque converters. It's pretty interesting. So if you have anything, by all means, peter@converterman.com, drop me a line and I'd be more than happy to do it for you. We also have a channel on Facebook, and we're now on Twitter, like the entire planet is. And what we do is we have sales on there too. I call them flash sales, so they only come up on Facebook, so I'll keep looking periodically. They're pretty good sales. They only last a few days. We do 2 or 3 times a month. So keep looking, like us on Facebook, and have a look. That's it for this month. Thanks for watching.